I failed. Then the second time I took the class, I failed again. I went into CS. I realized that not everyone is here for you. I would go to my professor to ask for help. All he wanted to do was just collect that paycheck.
How did you become a $200,000 software engineer at Microsoft?
So it was two main things, my and my.
Is it worth getting a computer science degree anymore? This is Ume. She's failed many computer science classes, she's had a 2.1 GPA, and nearly almost quit tech entirely. But today she's a $200,000 Microsoft software engineer, an international speaker, and getting invited to the top tech conferences all across the world. And in this video, we're going to be going through her background, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And through this, I hope that you're able to get some insights to help your own career despite any setbacks. And with that being said, Ume, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. And I want to get straight into it. Ume, can you give us your background in computer science?
For sure. So I went into the University of Maryland, College Park as a computer science major, and that was the worst decision I've ever made.
Wait, what happened?
The classes were horrible, my peers were not the nicest, and the professors were also the worst.
Okay, what was like your worst class?
Intro to Computer Systems, 100%, because I had never gotten a worse test grade in my life before. I had never coded in C before either, and being introduced to pointers for the first time was
It's a challenge.
It kept me up at night a lot. I've never pulled so many all-nighters in my life before, and the worst part about it all was the fact that I would go to my professor to ask for help, and he just seemed to not care at all.
Oh shoot, yeah. I remember that class, computer architecture, that was at my university, and man, you had to learn assembly, you had to learn the architecture, you had to learn C, and it was just a whole new stratosphere in computer science, right?
Yeah, for sure, and going from learning Java, which is what you learn your first year at UMD, to straight C is such a big learning curve because you're not taught anything about pointers in the first two classes as a CS major, and then you're just thrown into this assembly C pointers class, and I had never genuinely felt more incompetent in my life.
How'd you end up doing in the class?
So the first time I took the class, I failed. Then the second time I took the class, I failed again. I also got the lowest exam grade I've ever gotten in my life, which was a solid 9%, which tanked my GPA to a 2.1.
Ooh, that's not good. And tell me, how were the professors like? You were mentioning they weren't that great?
Yeah, the professor I had for the computer systems class, you would think that professors want to help you and they want their students to succeed. I would go to his office hours and he just seemed to not care at all. All he wanted to do was just collect that paycheck. And as a student who was trying to actually learn and actually do well, this was very sad for me to be in a room full of people that didn't want to help me.
I've actually heard the same exact thing. Like, even from my own experiences, like I would skip many different classes because I would just learn so much more online through other resources because my professors just weren't that great at teaching. Maybe I just had a bad attention span, but the professors aren't always the best.
Oh, 100%. And one thing computer science will teach you, though, is how to teach yourself, because that is the number one thing that I learned and what that professor that failed me taught me.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And tell me about your peers. What was wrong with them?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. 2020 was peak COVID, so my freshman year was all online. And like I mentioned before, freshman year is when you take those first two core classes in Java. And as someone who had Java experience prior, I didn't really find those classes necessarily difficult, but there were moments where I was stuck and I just needed a little bit of help. I know some people can probably relate to when you're failing a specific test and you don't know what's wrong with it, you just need a little bit of help. And I would see a lot of students talking about how they finished this project and they got 100%, passed all the tests, and there was one project that I was really struggling on. I was failing 2 tests and I had no idea what was wrong. And this was also one of the projects that was open. And usually with projects at the University of Maryland, you can't work with other folks. But there are certain times where professors will allow you to ask others questions. And so this was one of those projects. And I figured, why not ask a few folks who said they were finished a couple of questions about why I may be missing or failing a few of these tests. And they both told me the exact same thing, which was, I am not going to help you. Go ask in the group chat. And
that toxic competitiveness, right?
And honestly, I had never thought that computer science was competitive. I had never heard about computer science being competitive.
I've actually heard that. And like at many other universities, they used to do like grade deflation. So other students would sabotage each other to take each other down.
What?
Yeah.
That is insane to me. Because I remember when I was going into college, computer science was one of those majors that everyone was encouraging you to get into because it's undersaturated. There are so many jobs labs. And in my head, I always thought the pre-med kids were very competitive.
Yeah.
But then,
We're two peas in the same pod.
Exactly, yeah. And then I went into CS and I experienced this and I thought to myself, whoa, these people actually don't care about anyone else but themselves. And that was one of the moments where I realized that not everyone is here for you. Not everyone wants to help you, and that is okay, but that's just a part of this industry and this major.
So given how bad computer science was for you, what did you do about it?
I ended up dropping.
Then how did you become a software engineer?
So you only really need 2 specific classes to do well in software engineering interviews. The first one is data structures and algorithms, and then the second one is object-oriented programming. The best part is I took both of those classes my freshman year of college, so I already had all of the knowledge.
Oh, you were set.
Yeah, I was set. I didn't need anything else.
Yeah, that's actually so fast. You need to know the 4 object-oriented programming principles, data structures and algorithms, practice your lead code, you'll be set. Now, I want to ask you, so what did you transition into?
So I went into information science, which is still a tech major, but not very heavy on the theory side of things, which computer science is very
So no math?
No math classes at all.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a little bit of, say, data science. You take a couple of coding classes. They're not as theory heavy as CS classes, so you probably won't learn the data structures and algorithms of it all in information science. And you also get a little bit of project management and a lot of other things. It's just a little bit of every single sector of tech.
So it's like a potential major for some people who don't really like tech or like coding like to that level.
Yeah, or if you're unsure as to what you want to go into, it's a great major to check out because you're not concentrating specifically on coding.
Yeah.
You get to take a couple of coding classes. You get to take a couple of project management courses. You get to take data science classes. Anything you want to take, you can take and figure out for yourself whether or not this is something you'd be interested in.
Let's see. But I do got to ask, so everyone knows computer science, right?
Yeah.
Everyone widely recognizes that as a major. Information science, to be honest, I didn't hear till I started talking to you.
Yeah.
So how did you manage to land a top tech role with that major?
So a lot of professors in the information science department actually teach you and take you through how to market yourself as a tech student who is not a CS student. Something they'll tell you some of the times is if you go into a job application and they don't have information science listed, but usually job descriptions will say computer science or related degree, you can still put computer science, but once you get to that interview process, it's just a matter of letting folks know on the opposing end that, hey, I'm an information science major. It's very similar to computer science, but these are the key differences.
Do they hold you back for that?
No, they actually don't hold you back at all because, in my opinion, being an information science major makes you much more of a well-rounded tech professional than computer science does. So in computer science, you're just heavily focused on the logic of it all, on the coding of it all, on the math part of it all. But information science teaches you how to work with people, work in teams, which is what you do in the real world anyway, get that coding experience, get that data science experience, but still be immersed into an environment where people aren't, talking down on you all the time and people aren't, being very competitive. So it's a great major for those who, like I said, are not quite sure if they want to pursue a tech career, but still want the option to do so. And if they choose not to, there are still so many careers they could go into.
Yeah, actually, some of the best software engineers are the ones who get involved in the product side a lot.
Yes.
And you get a little bit of an intro in that,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what I love about information science is it really hones in on that people aspect, which is what computer science misses a lot of.
No, facts. Okay, but now I want to hear your success story. How did you become a $200,000 software engineer at Microsoft?
So it was 2 main things, my resume and my past internships. So like I mentioned, I had a 2.1 GPA during a semester and I did not want that to be on my resume. So what I did was a little bit of trial and error. Some of the companies that I applied to had my GPA on my resume, others did not. And I actually ended up landing a lot more interviews with the resume that didn't have the GPA. And I actually ended up landing my first software engineering internship because of that resume that didn't have my GPA on it.
Interesting. A lot of people ask the question, does GPA matter in tech? And I guess you're living proof that it doesn't.
It doesn't. It's all about what you know. It's all about being able to apply those skills that you learn in the classroom in an outside setting. And in this case, probably leak coding a lot.
But specifically with your resume, you also marketed yourself well. Do you have any quick fire 1 or 2 tips for your resume?
So 2 things, quantitative impacts and also skill set set matching. So to go off of that first point, you want to be able to put as many numbers as you can inside of your resume. Refrain from using words like a lot or many. You can put numbers there. People love seeing numbers. The more numbers they see, the more they're drawn to your resume.
Except for the GPA.
Yeah, which is why you leave that out.
Yeah, I mean, recruiters spend on average 6 to 8 seconds reviewing your resume, and numbers draw eyeballs to your resume a lot.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, that second point, skill set matching. If you're applying for a data science role, yet a lot of your experience is in, say, project management, chances are you probably aren't going to get that interview. But if you do have data science experience, you probably either want to create a different resume or just tweak the current resume that you're submitting.
Now let's rewind the clock a little bit. If you're a current struggling computer science major, what would be your number one piece of advice?
I would first sit down with yourself and ask yourself, is this something that I genuinely enjoy doing? And is this something that I can see myself doing for the next at least 5 to 10 years? Because this is going to be your job. You are going to be doing this 40 hours a week. And if you're not enjoying it in at least the tiniest bit, it's not worth it, no matter how much money you're making. But at the same time, the beauty of having a computer science degree is that you don't have to go into software engineering. If you find that you don't like coding, you can go into project management. You can go into data science. Data science is a little bit of coding, but not as coding heavy as software engineering is. So there are so many possibilities for you as a computer science graduate if you choose to complete that degree. But at the same time, do not just limit yourself to computer science if you truly do not feel like it's fulfilling you.
Yeah, and never do computer science only for the money. You will burn out so fast.
Oh, super quick. And I have a bunch of friends who ended up getting a computer science degree, coded for maybe 6 months at a big tech company and realized, I hate my life, I want to leave.
That's crazy. That means they were good at it, gone to big tech, and they realized they don't like it.
Yeah, you would be surprised by the amount of people that not only pivot away from big tech, but also pivot from software engineering to product management within the same company. I see that a lot, even at Microsoft.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned something out of this video. I really got a lot of value out of this. And if you guys didn't know already, Ume posts a lot of tech-related stuff on her Instagram and TikTok. You can check out her links in the description below. And like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.